By the way, Vancouver tonight on the road. Goal in the first 10, 25-1 on the season. Vancouver on the road tonight. Let's go. Keep it going.
So you're telling me that's pretty strong then?
Not bad trend.
Yeah, pretty good throughout the entire year. Okay, let's close strong on day one here in Phoenix, site of the Super Bowl. Ross Tucker joins the program, played in the league for a long time. Great analyst, has a couple of podcasts, including the Even Money podcast. He's on Twitter at Ross Tucker NFL. It's great to meet you in person. How are you?
It is awesome to see you guys in person, and we will finish strong unless you ask me about Vancouver. As long as we're talking Super Bowl, I'm good. As long as we're not talking NHL.
So we just played a soundbite from Billy Walters, who is arguably the best sports bettor ever, and he was making his case. First of all, he said that he's surprised Philly is not favored by 3 right now, but he's waiting for more injury information on the KC receivers because, as he hinted at with Brent Musburger, he actually likes the Chiefs in the game. Okay, it's Wednesday. I'm sure you've made up your mind on which side now overall where you want to come in at here. Would you agree with that, or do you think it's going to be an Eagles Super Bowl victory?
Well, so first of all, it sounds like Kadarius Toney and Juju Smith-Schuster have both practiced the last couple days. It seems like they're going to play. Mm-hmm. So that's huge news for the Chiefs to have both those guys, especially with no McCole Hardman. This is a tough one for me. I think it's lined correctly in every way. I think it's kind of like a 27-24 game. Mm-hmm. I think the Eagles have the best team. What I struggle with is if it's a close game late, we've all seen Mahomes so many times make the critical play late in a big game for the Chiefs to win. We really haven't seen Hurts do that. Doesn't mean he can't do it. We just haven't seen him do it. So part of me has been leaning to Kansas City because of the close game Mahomes factor. Why I ultimately side with the Eagles is, man, they got the best O-line and D-line. And historically, what I just said about Mahomes and close game late, that really hasn't played out that way. When's the last time an MVP's team won the Super Bowl? Was it Kurt Warner?
Yeah, it is.
Like in 99?
Yeah.
It just doesn't. Now, I don't know. Do you guys look at that and think, because he's going to win the MVP tomorrow night, do you look at that and think, well, that's a trend that you continue? Or part of me always thinks, wow, they're due. They're due for the MVP to actually win the Super Bowl. So anyway, I like the Eagles 27-24 in a very close, competitive game. The other thing, I always think about like different outcomes, like different possibilities.
Yeah.
There is no possibility in my mind that the Chiefs run away with this game. None. I just can't see that happening. If the Chiefs win, it's a close game. Mm-hmm. I think the Eagles can win a close game, but there is the possibility that I don't like the Chiefs' depth on the defensive line. And I think there's a real possibility that the Eagles pound them, wear them down. The Eagles beat up the Niners. Yeah. I mean, they were throwing Bosa to the ground. They were knocking those guys back. So if any team is able to win by 2 scores, I think it's the Eagles. So out of the different potential outcomes, Eagles by 2 scores, Eagles close, Chiefs close, 2 of those 3 outcomes are the Eagles. So I lean Eagles, but I can see why the line is only 1.5.
Okay. I picked them by 4. I think the O-line and D-line will be the difference. Are you concerned about the health of Hurts? And since, is he 80%? Is he 70%? And what would you do if you're Spags?
So I don't know if it's health or performance, but I am concerned about the performance of Hurts. So I don't know how much of it, Pauly, is he didn't play that well the last couple weeks because of the shoulder, or maybe he just didn't play that well. It doesn't really matter, right? Like one way or the other, his performance is what it is. I am concerned about that. And if you're Spags, I know what I would do. I would load the box. I would play man-to-man on the outside. And I would force Hurts, who, by the way, was very good this year, on go balls deep down the sideline. I would take my chances that way, and I would make Jalen Hurts beat me. Don't let them run you over. You can't let it happen. If Hurts has a great day and he's connecting on those throws and they get big plays, you tip your cap and you say, okay, he didn't play that well against the Niners. I mean, Hurts missed some throws. He didn't play that well. I think if you're Kansas City, even though he's going to be one of the 2 or 3 best guys for the MVP, you make Jalen Hurts prove he can beat you with his arm.
I'm wondering what this point spread would be if the Chiefs had any other quarterback in football other than Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen, you name any of them, right? I think it's going to be 3 minimum for the Eagles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think he's not only the best player on the planet, I don't think it's like by a small margin. Whoever you think is number 2 guy, Joe Burrow, whatever.
There's a gap.
There is a gap.
Pretty significant gap.
I mean, Mahomes is just fantastic, but that D-line for the Eagles and, the tackles for the Chiefs can be had. They're 2 of the 4 worst in terms of pressures allowed this year. So conversely, you asked me what I would do if I was Spags.
Yeah.
I'm loading up against the run, and I'm forcing Hurts to complete passes down the field on the outside. If I'm the Eagles, I am doing whatever I can to take away Mahomes' first read. I am not letting him get rid of the ball quickly. The longer he holds the ball, the better chance that he has to move around, which isn't good for his ankle, the better chance that the D-line can get there. You can't let Mahomes just throw it to Kelsey, throw it to the running back, and dink and dunk you up and down the field, which, by the way, Jonathan Gannon allowed that several times last year. I mean, there was 3 or 4 games where guys completed 80% of their passes against the Eagles playing softer zone coverage. I just don't see them doing that because I think the Chiefs receivers don't really scare them. And also, he's got much better cover guys than he had last year. The flip side is the Eagles haven't gone against one of these top quarterbacks, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, who's the best quarterback they've gone against?
Dak.
Yeah.
Dak.
It's probably the best quarterback. And by the way, the Cowboys scored 40 points in that game.
Yeah, they gave him fits in that game. Have you looked at the props? Who goes off for Phil? Is it a Sanders game? Do they mix in Gainwell? Does Brown have a big game?
Well, it's interesting because on the my Even Money betting podcast, Steve Fezzik liked the over 13.5 carries for Miles Sanders and felt like the Eagles kind of were resting him in the second half against the Niners. I don't see it that way. I think Gainwell's played really well.
Okay.
And so I'll give you some props I like.
Yeah.
I like the over 8.5 yards for Boston Scott. I mean, that's probably might be one run. I think he'll get a couple carries. I like, if it's still at 6.5, I like the over 6.5 Kelsey receptions. I mean, there is no scenario in my mind where the Chiefs win or even stay close if Kelsey's not catching at least 7-8 balls, right?
Okay, yeah.
So that's probably my favorite prop. That's who they're gonna throw to. And no matter what the Eagles do to try to stop him, he's going to be able to get it. He is, right now, the most unstoppable force on the offensive side of the ball in the NFL. The Jaguars talked all week about stopping him, and he had 14 catches.
Yeah.
That's all they talked about.
Routes.
That's all they talked about all week was we got to be able to stop Travis Kelce, and he has 14 catches. They let him do almost whatever he wants. I mean, he goes out there and just find space.
Yeah.
And he and Mahomes are on the same page. So that's the prop I like the most. I kind of like the under on Hurts passing yards.
So do I.
Yeah.
I think that they are going to try to run the ball and pound them. And I just don't think – I mean, Hurts, what did he have the last couple games? Less than 200, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going over 239 or 240, whatever that number's at.
What your breakdown, though, on Spags loading the box, what if that works? And then the Eagles aren't running the football in this game. And then it turns into, Hurts now needs to – this could be a Goddard game because the Chiefs are not great at guarding the tight end.
Right.
It could be a dual tight end game, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. If Hurts has over 240 yards passing, I don't know if that's a great thing for the Eagles.
Probably not.
That might mean that they're behind and that they're trying to come from behind. So I like the under on Hurts, and I like the over on Kelsey. Those are my favorites.
Yeah. Okay, so you can follow him on Twitter. He's at Ross Tucker NFL. Again, the podcast is called the Even Money Podcast. And what do we have? It's 6 days away, Valentine's Day, from myfrontpagestory.com.
It's not too late. Now, listen, I don't know if you're actually going to get it sent to you by the time. But here's what I like about it. Order it now. Go to myfrontpagestory.com. Order the best Valentine's Day gift ever right now. Worst case scenario, you show them that you made the order, and you tell them, it's not here yet, but I have a story being written all about you. That almost like the anticipation. Imagine telling your wife that the gift you got her is a story written all about her. She's going to be counting down the seconds until she gets that thing sent to her in the mail.
Well played.
Yeah.
Strong. Great to meet you.
Yeah,
Always
absolutely.
great to see you guys. Great show. I love being on.
Have a great week down here in Phoenix.
Yeah, you too.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.